Hello. What's that? What's that over there? And who is that? What time do you call this? What day do you call this? That's the weekend over there, just in sight. Thanks, Tom. Thanks for helping us out. Even I know what day it is, sort of, some of the time. Hello. Yes, it's that man again. I can't leave you alone for too long, it seems. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Type 40 for this sort of extra live bit of nonsense with me. Thought I'd dive on and catch up. What a night we had last night on Type 40 Live here for episode 200. And yeah, my mind is still sort of racing and my mouth is still running. But I wanted to dive on for a little while and just explain about a few things that have been going on this week, because we did have last night's live stream taken down. It was what was it? Blocked. That's it. The word is blocked, Dan. The word is blocked. So it was blocked from various hours, I think it was, due to a copyright violation. And that wasn't something I'd done deliberately. It wasn't even something I thought that I was risking there. But these things happen. These things happen. Even to Birmingham's King of the Geeks. Hello. Yes, so I'll try and quieten down a little bit. Probably had a long day, haven't you? So yeah, it was blocked for copyright reasons. We included a video, well, I included a video of Peter Capaldi doing a sketch of the great man, of Tom Baker. And I thought it was a sort of fan thing. Turns out it was a clip from one of those Doctor Who, the fan show things, when it was very, very official. Naughty Dan. I think I'll stick to the unofficial stuff in future, right, Tom? I don't think Tom was even official when he was official. Do you? Stick to the non-official stuff. I've got my own TARDIS here, bit of a lash-up job, and yeah, I'm sort of taking my chances a little bit with all the exposed parts. But that's very much that's very much how I like to rock. Yeah, at Type 40 Live with exposed parts. Below the waist at all times. Yes, so that's that. If you're wondering where the video had gone, if you'd wondered where the live stream had gone, then yeah, it wasn't me. It was them, but it was sort of me. I can't really blame them, can I? I should have probably checked. So that was Type 40 Live 200. Does what it says in the tin. The 200th edition of our live stream show there. Had a blast, nearly 3.5 hours worth of it, in fact, and so many of you watched it as well already across Rumble, X, YouTube and Facebook, everywhere we've shared it, so thank you so much. Lots of classic and new series content and a good old rant about all new Doctor Who as well there, so get stuck in. All the little segments are there too, so if you catch up with it over the weekend, you can sort of watch at your leisure, really, in the way that suits you. So that's hopefully going to tick some boxes there, and sort of rounds off the 200 episodes very, very nicely. I think what's coming next, that's for us to know and you to find out, all in good time. But we shall see. We shall see. Thank you. Yes, I thought I'd dive on and have a bit of a sort of open forum chat with you guys, see who was kicking around, and just to see what you're looking forward to over the weekend, really where your head's at. You know, did you make it through the whole of the 3.5 hours of the live stream? And yes, so we've got some messages here in the live chat. We've got Lord Thoth there. Thank you, Lord Thoth. And we've got a hello from John Brown. John says hello, and he says, would Type 40 reply? We can reply when we're on, John. Hello, John. Happy weekend, John. What have you got planned for the weekend, mate? He says, hello, John. What are your thoughts on the recent Doctor? Recent Doctor? Depends on what you mean by recent, really. The current guy, Ncuti Gatwa? Where do you want to start? We've got hours worth of content with our views on the current Doctor, the current showrunner, and where things may go in the future or the past, where we'd like them to go and how we'd like things to turn out. I think we all want the best for the series, John, at the end of the day. I personally think Ncuti Gatwa meant well when he entered the role, has been drastically mismanaged and is now really underperforming to the point where he looks like he's completely disengaged from the role, doesn't really know what he's doing, and certainly doesn't know how to behave as the lead of a family-orientated adventure series on a Saturday tea time. So, yeah, that's where I am with it at the moment. He's not in my good books. Not in my good books at all. How about you? How are you finding him? If that's who you do mean, if you do mean Ncuti Gatwa. We were in safer hands with Matt Smith, weren't we? As the 11th Doctor. God, miss Matt Smith. more than any other Doctor, really. And I've seen a few come and go by now. New Who Hater is there now in the live chat. Gatwa is the most iconic Doctor. Not. Iconic, moronic, delete where applicable, and all that. Depends who you talk to, doesn't it, really? Obviously, we're only one season in of Ncuti Gatwa's tenure. You know, is it all to play for? Probably not. I think some of us have seen enough. Some of us had seen enough within probably about 10 minutes when he was running around in his grunts in the giggle, maybe. But, you know, some people like that. I know. Didn't you, Ian? You loved it. Yes, so hopefully there's not going to be any more of that, and things may shape up for the second season, whenever we're going to get that. So we sort of, lots of us are in it for the duration, aren't we? However, I speak to several people who say that it doesn't really matter how bad the show gets. They're going to carry on watching anyway. You know, it didn't put them off with the classic series. It's not going to put them off now. And I respect that. I understand that. Reuptaken TV is there in the live chat on YouTube as well. I don't recognise that name before. And asks, what would you say is the worst Tom Baker season? 7 seasons of the Tom Baker Doctor. What a tenure. But as with every other era, it did have its ups and downs, didn't it? Tom had his own ups and downs while he was making the show. What would I say is the worst Tom Baker season? With regret, because I'm really fond of a great many of the stories, I can't deny that I think season 17 is probably the worst of them all. What do you think, Tom? He's refusing to answer. Yeah, I think, with a heavy heart, I think it probably is season 17. What do you think? I think there's just too many. I think with season 17, it just runs out of steam. And I like... There's lots of stories in there that I like that other people don't. I'm really keen on Creature from the Pit. For example, Nightmare of Eden with the Mandrels. Who doesn't love a Mandrel? Well, I love a Mandrel. But if I'm honest, you know, the season, I think each season of Doctor Who, you know, it's got a kind of, it's either got a momentum to it and a shape or it hasn't. And I think that kind of seemed to run out of steam a little. But I haven't watched any of it for a while, come to think of it. I haven't watched much Tom Baker for a while. I did watch the first part of Robot quite recently for an episode of Type 40 Extra with Simon and Sarah, but I haven't watched much at all. Got David Mullen in the live chat picking up on the Ncuti Gatwa remark there. Ncuti's everybody's favourite subject, isn't he, whenever we go live? I felt Ncuti was responding well to the material in Joy to the World, says David. He does seem to rise and try to meet Moffat's scripts. I think Moffat's scripts are the ones that task him the most. But I believe they're also the ones that expose him the most. As a lot less experienced an actor than would be ideal. I know he's coming in off the back of Sex Education. It's a successful show, and he's he was an integral part of that. But it seems to me he was playing a character that wasn't too far removed from himself, in situations that he could really relate to, and maybe situations that he'd lived a version of in his day-to-day life. I don't know. I've never seen it. It's probably unfair of me to say. With Doctor Who, I think he's finding it a lot harder. And so Boom in particular, which was really quite high concept, I thought, and put a lot on the actor. The fact that he had to be rooted to the one spot for 45 minutes and sell us on the idea that he couldn't move, but that he could save Millie, save Ruby, and everything else that was going on. It was a lot. So I don't think he met the challenge myself. And Joy to the World, I just thought was generally pretty awful. He was okay in bits of it. But that's about as much as I can say about that, really. John, I'm not going to talk about that one, mate. Your second question, it's just not something we can talk about here. This is YouTube, and they're very censorious, and I don't think it would be appropriate anyway. But thank you for the question. David Mullen says, I was never sure if the Mandrels were just constructs or actual real creatures. Of course, they're real creatures. I've seen one at a convention. He was sort of roaming around doing the thing, you know, with the arms and that. Definitely, yeah. New Who Hater says Gatwa being cast as the Doctor is the biggest FU ever. Who Do you think that they meant it as an FU? I don't know. I think it's just the fact that Russell T Davies is behind the times in his taste. He doesn't really understand where the culture is at the moment. And he seemed to get fixated on seeing Ncuti play the Doctor. I can see why they auditioned him. It's quite right that they audition actors who are about to become something big. Doctor Who is a star-making role. Get the actor, ideally before they sort of plateau, and you can't plateau, and you have to pay that bit more to sort of potentially get them involved. I see why they looked at him. It just hasn't worked out this time, has it? There are lots of actors, I think, come out of those kind of shows with the Game of, people like Kit Harington on Game of Thrones, and people coming out of things like Stranger Things and UK shows too. And I can see why he would look at him, but I find it very difficult to believe. I can believe that he made people sit up and pay attention because he does have charisma. He does have something. There is something raw. Stop laughing at the back. There is something raw about Ncuti, but it needs refinement. Actors need to be worked with these things. I mean, some of them, I suppose, older ones might come in with really quite a clear idea about how they want to play it, or a really sort of clear vision, a clean vision about what they'd always want to do if they ever got the part. I think Peter Capaldi was like that, but, he was well into his 50s at the time and had been a massive Doctor Who fan. Not all actors are going to feel that way. Ncuti certainly wasn't a Doctor Who fan. I think he'd seen it growing up, but I don't think he collected Battles in Time cards and things like that. You'd have to ask him. Yes, they definitely meant it, says New Who hater. David Mullen asks, would there be a place for K9 today? Perhaps as a TARDIS-bound helper. Would this character work for kids and family today, or is it of its time? No, it absolutely would work today. I think you could have, and yeah, it's a kind of, the way, God, this sounds bad. Because this character did grow on me. But I think if you notice, when Matt Lucas was on Doctor Who, just for that one series, on series 10, wasn't it? When Matt Lucas was on it, he was in most episodes of that series, but a great many of the scenes, I think he was initially only meant to be in 3 or 4. Eventually he was in all of them. But I get the impression some of the scenes were recorded as pickups to put him into each episode, and a great many of them were in the TARDIS, as if he was some sort of technician. He was doing some of the caretaking of the TARDIS while the Doctor was doing other things, making sure the systems were... So you could have a tin dog, in effect, doing that, couldn't you? Some sort of robotic assistant, a chameleon. Handels did that to some extent, didn't he? I think we were led to believe in those Matt Smith episodes. So, yeah, I believe there is a place for a character like K9. I personally would bring back K9, a new version of K9 into Doctor Who. I think it would work very, very well. Certainly if they were ever to do the big screen Doctor Who movie that David Yates wanted to do, for example, I think that K9, they'd be mad not to include the Daleks and K9. I think they're cornerstones of Doctor Who that would translate beautifully to the cinema. But no, I'd bring back K9, absolutely. Woodhouse 122 says, I came here from watching the new season 7 collection set video. That's the trailer. They've published the trailer, haven't they, for the season 7 set? Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. Proper Who compared to the RTD Disney Who crap. Yeah, I'll have a look. Yeah, we'll definitely have a look at this trailer because it got leaked, didn't it? That it was going to be season 7 next, and so they had to announce it. I think it was just before Christmas, wasn't it? They had to officially state, yes, it is season 7, and yes, here you are. You can pre-order it, but usually they do announce a new set either the last week of January or the first week of February. So it would have been about now. I have to go and look at that later on. Really uptaken TV says K9's introduction was when the show dropped off, in my opinion. I know someone, a massive Doctor Who fan who, you know what I mean, don't you? A massive Doctor Who fan who really strongly agrees with that it all went downhill after K9. But again, it was the right age. I was the right age. And it was all at the right time for me. And so, yeah, the robot dog, obviously, yes, it was pre-R2D2, everybody. So, yeah, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. K9, obviously, he was fond of a ball bearing, wasn't he? So they'd have us believe that was what he used to snack on. A lot of old balls, if you ask me. Speaking of balls, on the live stream last night, if you remember, we were on Type 40 Live last night, and we talked about a million things. But there was something that I said I'd go back to, and I never did. So where are we? So this is it. So it was Type 40 Live number 200. And through the conversation, it did arise. We got to talking about balls, specifically these balls, the balls that are used on the sets of Doctor Who, and inset into the console there. You can just see it on the right. It's a kind of paperweight, a circular paperweight that's sunken into the console there, just under the corrugated piping. Now, I know it looks like a bit of high-tech equipment there, but it is actually a paperweight from IKEA. And we were talking about that on last night's edition of Type 40 Live, and I said I'd go and find mine out because I've got one of those, and I never did, but I have actually found it out now. So this is the sole reason for me coming back and doing an extra live stream, is to show you my balls. It's to show you my ball there. So there it is. That's what it is. That's the exact same thing from the same range that they use there, sunken into the console of the TARDIS in that bottom right-hand corner. They used to, I bet you've got one. They seem to sell these by the crate load back in the day, so lots of people will probably recognise it as a key feature of the TARDIS from all the way back in 2005 through to 2008, 2009, wasn't it? Yeah, so it does look like a pile of old junk, as Ian David Diaz says quite often, but it is a pile of old junk. When you look closely, you think, my God. In fact, there's two of them. If you look, there's a clear white one as well, just on the other side of the sort of dividing area, again, which, you can actually see the flex in that even more. So there's at least two on this side to the console. So in there you can see here they are. Look, there's the, it's unmistakable, isn't it? There, like that. So, yes, if you've got one of these, if you're an IKEA customer 20 years ago, show us your balls and tell us which colour you've got. And and if you get a thrill from seeing an everyday household item that you own on the set of Doctor Who, or is it just convince you that it's just a lot of old tat? After all, we suspect that this was one they used as well in the extraction chamber. We talked about this last night too. So, yeah. Close the loop, Hadley. Close the loop. Close the loop. What else have we got here in the live chat? We've stimulated conversation, I'm happy to say. Reuptaken. Hi from Chris McKeon and Black Glove Studio. Hi, Chris. Been meaning to catch up with you. I think I said that the last time you dropped a message, though, didn't I? I think I've spoken to you this year, in fact. Compared to the 2005 era, does the BBC website and press department do enough today to promote new series of Doctor Who? Could it be stronger in its marketing of the series? Does the BBC website and press department do enough? I think that the BBC websites, in and of themselves, aren't the go-to places that they used to be 20 years ago, even 15 years ago. I think their social media accounts kind of pick up a lot of that because of the interactive quality of them. You know, you could leave messages and things like that on the websites, and they would sometimes, or you could message them, you could mail them, you could email them, and they would pin some up like a notice board. And that was, you used to get a thrill out of that. It happened to me a few times. But they're just a home for press releases now, really, aren't they? And there's some nice pictures and things there. And now and again you get something creative. But I think what you're pointing to, what you're asking, is a valid question, David. They don't do as much as they used to, but do they do enough? The fact is, do they get the traffic that they used to warrant them doing more? That's the real question. I'd like to think they've done their audience research, their market research. Maybe they haven't. I don't know. I don't think the press department are as on it as they used to be. I think they could be concentrating too much on the international market, and that could have, they could. I think they're looking in the wrong places. I think they're focusing efforts in the wrong areas. I think it's the kind of field of dreams. If you build it, they will come. I think if let's just stop thinking about the audience that they want and consider a bit more the audience that they've got. People who've been there the whole time, who've been there through thick and thin, really. Mostly thick. Mostly thick of late, isn't it? So could it be stronger in its marketing? Look, the marketing of the show is not what it once was. That I think that's self-evident. And they're really asleep at the wheel with that stuff. And I think the profile was higher this year in the States, but they were focused there. And again, I can sort of see why. But game's up now. You know, it hasn't worked out. None of it's really worked. They've got to take the whole thing sort of back to basics, really, and forget about what your ideals, what you would like, who you would like to attract, and what with. You've got to consider what will work and who actually wants to watch this show, because I'd say the viewing figures proportionately do prove that the general public, Russell, do actually want to watch Doctor Who. It's just that when you show them the Doctor Who that you've made, or at least the Doctor Who you're making at the moment, they're not that impressed, are they? Was that 76 for the AAI figure of the Christmas special? It's pretty bad. On the biggest TV day of the year, where more people are going to see your stuff than ever, to rock in with a figure like that, that's pretty bad. To top off a lackluster year that was meant to be such a huge relaunch for everything. Stephen Braddock's just home from work. Type 40 is on. It's cool. Well, I try. Not very cool at the moment. Need to warm up a little bit. New Who hater, unsurprisingly, with a name like that, mate, says, I hope it gets cancelled. And in the future, sooner rather than later, they produce proper Doctor Who, one-off TV films, or small parts serials unconnected to New Who. I love those 60s Dalek movies. I've got some good news for you, New Who hater. Doctor Who meets the Scorpion. We are now in the year of the Scorpion, as declared by Philip Roy. If you've heard about the new Doctor Who fan film that's on the way, so they've nearly finished filming of this, and we've spoken to Philip and some of his colleagues before on Type 40 Extra and the podcast, and it's inching its way to completion. It's I think the word is really getting around as well. The broader media is picking up on this, and so if you hit the playlist here on the channel, you'll find my chats with Philip and some fabulous trailers and behind the scenes bits of information and things, and I think that could very much deliver the kind of old school thrills that you're looking for in a format that would make you feel like a kid again. I don't know. Is that good enough, Philip? Yeah, it's the year of the Scorpion. That's coming up. Please go and find Doctor Who Meets the Scorpion on social media. Certainly a very strong Facebook presence with lots of exclusive photographs and sort of inside words on there. So that would be my go-to location for everything to do with Doctor Who Meets the Scorpion on Facebook. And please tell them that Type 40 sent you. What else have we got? Black Love Studio asks, what do we think is the next collection box? Oh, come on, Chris. You know what? I know there's a great many people like to speculate about this stuff. I couldn't care less. I just don't care. I'm going to buy them all anyway. I'm a completist. I've always been a completist when it comes to physical media, with Doctor Who on physical media. I'm going to buy it anyway, so I don't really care about the order in which we get them. When was the last Tom Baker season? We could be due a Tom Baker. But I've got no idea what it'll be. I've never been right so far. I mean, no, have I ever been right? Well, I think I was right last time. But that was just like this one. It's like the worst kept secret ever, isn't it? I don't know. Don't care. I'm going to buy it anyway. Stephen Braddock's just seen the season 7 trailer as well. And Chris asks, do you feel that Russell Davies is behind the times? Absolutely. The big problem is that he thinks that he's still ahead of the culture as he was 20 years ago when he was leading the culture. He's not in that place anymore, but he doesn't realise it. Philip Roy is the Doctor. As the Doctor, says Michael Q, and he's absolutely right. David Mullen asks, is Series 2, you mean Season 2? Is season 2 transmission waiting for Disney Plus to schedule it? Is that what the BBC Davies is waiting for at the moment? I don't know. Look, we talked about this on the live stream last night. There's major fallings out between the BBC and Disney over this, between Bad Wolf and Disney, and even between Bad Wolf and the BBC. Each of them pulling in slightly different directions as regards this matter in particular last year. I don't think it's any secret that Russell, the plan was that season 1 would follow the week after, or certainly within 2 weeks at the very, very most, of Church on Ruby Road being broadcast. And I think when you watch those episodes back, you can see that that's where it was meant to fall. Disney didn't have room for it in their release calendar until later in the year, and so it was pushed back largely for Disney, because they organise everything their year in blocks. Well, the BBC do that too, to be fair, in seasons, but Disney's is even more compartmentalised, very unmovable, as I understand it. They only run so many genre shows at any given time. So, the whole thing was a massive compromise, and it was the BBC and Bad Wolf and the domestic audience that ultimately lost out, I think, with that. Will it be a different story this time? Will they have learnt from that era? Disney won't care. Disney won't care. They're ruthless, the people at Disney. I know people who've worked for Disney. They're ruthless right across the board. You don't get that amount of money without being ruthless. Disney are also out of Doctor Who after this order is complete. It completes with the war between the land and the sea. So Disney aren't going to care, really. They're going to care even less, because they haven't got a longer term strategy anymore, or relationship with the BBC or with Bad Wolf that they want to maintain, because they're out, they're done. So I think we'll still get it later on in the year, and I would imagine that everybody in Britain, at the Bad Wolf and BBC side, they could be frustrated with that. Maybe they've adjusted their expectations accordingly. I wouldn't like to say, but they are kind of at the behest of Disney, and the way that they schedule things would still be my guess. Stephen Braddock says, I think Doctor Who Meets the Scorpion is going to totally eclipse season 2. There you go, Phil. You never know. You never know. I don't think... Yeah, I mean, look, Phil has put his heart and soul into it, and so has everybody else that's worked on it, from what I've seen. The people that I've spoken to. It's coming across, isn't it? In still images and trailers, the flavour of real Doctor Who is there. People can smell it. They can detect it, can't we? So we'll see how and where it goes. The main reason for jumping on was just to say that if you are looking for the live stream, Type 40 Live 200, it is up. There was a small cut that's had to be made to get it back up there. Still doing really well with the views and things, so we're grateful for that. But it was the second time it happened this week, because we've been making a few more live streams, having a few more conversations here on the channel. And I thought, well, people are going to wonder what's going on. Every time they publish something, it either disappears completely or it vanishes for a little while and then turns up again. But no, everything is back where it should be. So at the start of the week, we talked about Wallace and Gromit. Well, I talked about Wallace and Gromit for a little while. Yes, it was the Wrong Thinkers there at the start of the week. A long form, open forum conversation there. We got stuck into... some of the Doctor Who news and general sort of chit-chat, didn't we? So that's still up on the channel. On Wednesday, I was back in with our friend David, Stato David, where we talked about the ratings, because that's very much David's field of expertise as a statistician, a proper statistician, a qualified statistician. So we talked about that, and about Russell T Davies' reaction and behaviour, his habits, the way that he talks to fans, to viewers on social media. So we debated that, didn't we? And threw that open to you there in the live chat. So that video was I also had to edit that a little. But all of that is now up here on the channel as well. So you can go and catch up over the weekend with that and Type 40 Live in whichever order that you see fit. What else have we got here? Tell Disney to stick to theme parks and cartoons. Well, they're out anyway, reuptake, and so yeah, they've decided that Doctor Who, the juice isn't worth the squeeze, I think is the expression. The juice isn't worth the squeeze. I know. Ridiculous that Doctor Who has any connection to Disney, says New Who hater. Well, we feel that way now. I think it's because what Disney represents now is different, isn't it, compared to what it used to represent in years gone by. I think that Disney being involved with Doctor Who, I can see why Russell found the idea attractive. But I say he's behind the times. He doesn't know that Disney are largely reviled and they're a corporation that the general people are suspicious of and disappointed in, and are now wary of putting their children in front of their material. I think Russell's completely unaware of that. And anybody working on the show perhaps is. Stephen says, last night's 200th birthday show was one for the ages. Well, birthday. Nobody on the show actually turned 200. That's that. Thank you, though. Sincerely, though, thank you for all the messages, all the comments and stuff. It was fantastic. We had a brilliant time. Don't know where those 3 hours went. Who World 79 is in the live chat and says, hello. Happy weekend. Happy weekend to you. Hello, John Pertwee. Bring back Doctor Who with monsters, alien worlds, adventure, and a proper doctor. And 25-minute episodes, and I'll watch it, says Stephen. Yeah, I think that the time has come to look at the format again. Yeah, if not back to 25 minutes, certainly back to... I personally, I'd experiment with half-an-hour episodes in the same way that Cobra Kai does, another series like that. I think that you've got that scope, particularly if you have got a global streaming home, to not seize the advantages of having a global streaming home, I think is silly. Haku's talking. We've been very, very silly, of course, on Type 40 this week. Serious when needs be, but silly too. We've had a lot of fun. You can catch up on all of that on the playlists. As I said, what else did I want to talk about? Let's see. Okay, so when it comes to the current state of Doctor Who and that dynamic between all the cooks that are in the kitchen. Now, it's quite understandable that we look at the situation, we wonder where it all went wrong, really, and was it always doomed to failure, this sort of marriage between Bad Wolf and Disney Plus at precisely the wrong time, in the dead heat of what we know as the culture war? I think that's a pretty reasonable question as well. Again, it's something that if you spend a lot of time following broader popular culture and entertainment, you're very aware of what people think about Disney content at the moment and who watches it and the various outrages surrounding brands such as Star Wars. But I get the impression that those who shopped around for this deal, shall we say, who sold it, who created this alliance, had no idea that it would result in so much controversy, I suppose, and disharmony. But a lot of the fans, we could have told them, couldn't we? We could have definitely have told them. And we talked about how it's all over and done with there yesterday. But the truth is that the BBC are pushing on with Doctor Who. That's the plan. And the Bad Wolf, that their deal is still in place. They've still got another couple of years to run on Doctor Who. But I did notice today when I was on Facebook, I noticed this over on Bad Wolf's official social media account. This is their Facebook page. And this was published just an hour ago as of time of recording. And if we look there, there's a picture of the Bad Wolf premises there. And it says, so what does it say? We've got, that's the outside look with its rainbow. God. Rainbow wolf. A very well kept hedges that wouldn't look out of place in an episode of Blake 7, would they? There. And there's the car park. There's it's very very glamorous. Various outbuildings and studios out towards the back. I think we've seen a lot of those buildings, haven't we? In various behind the scenes clips and things like that Shooty's videos that Shooty's made and shared and all that. So it's all there on their Facebook page for you to catch up with. But the actual post says Wolf Studios Wales. So that's what the facility's called there. And Bad Wolf say, we loved having Doctor Who and Dope Girls film with us during 2024 and are excited to welcome new productions to Cardiff in 2025. We loved, that's the past tense. We loved having Doctor Who and Dope Girls film with us during 2024 and are excited to welcome new productions in 2025. This, the way this is worded, not only is it in the past tense, but it would seem to suggest that Doctor Who isn't going to resume filming at all in 2025. And this appearing on their social medias kind of points to the possibility that they've got this facility with plenty of space and slots available that they maybe need to fill. It's an appeal to other production companies, other people who've got dramas or comedies or movies to use their facilities. They say we have 140,000 square feet of stage space, supported by offices, workshops, backlot, and secure unit parking areas. This is a cold hard sales pitch, isn't it? Come and use our facility. That's what they're basically saying. And if you'd like more information about Wolf Studios, drop us a line. We would be delighted to hear from you. Should we contact them? See what they've got to say. We could do, couldn't we? So they got a link in the bio and all that kind of thing. But what really attracted me to this was the fact that it's all very much in the past tense. There it is. There's Wolf Studios, that is in Cardiff. So what do you think? Am I looking into this too deeply? We have loved. Past tense. I don't know. I think them putting this out publicly, I haven't seen whether it's on their X accounts yet, on their other social medias. But in light of what we talked about last night, it does make you wonder, doesn't it? Let me know what you think in the comments section. What does this say about certainly the short-term future? Are they not going to film at all in 2025? Down with Bad Wolf, says New Who Hater. God, blimey, you have taken one massive cough black pill, haven't you? Happy weekend, New Who Hater. Let us know what you're going to do to cheer yourself up at the weekend. Loved and new productions. So Cliff Maxwell in the live chat, he's picked up on what I've picked up on. Echoes of 1990? Question mark. From Reuptaken TV. Just a little, isn't it? It's like Peter Cregeen's statement. We are looking forward to finding ways of taking Doctor Who through the 1990s by not making it. Curious, says David Mullen, but Bad Wolf needs to make money. No, I don't mind them doing this. It still makes perfect sense. Of course it does from a business sense. Why wouldn't they? Curious. Bad Wolf needs to make money and can't wait on a troubled production like Doctor Who. Yeah. Let us know what you think in the comments. Am I looking into this a little too deeply? It has been said before that I'm obsessed with Doctor Who, you see. I don't mind admitting that. Does it show? I think it probably does. Yeah, so let me know what you think of all of that. You know, Doctor Who at the moment, sadly, it's giving off the vibes of a brand that is calcifying. Isn't it? It's the BBC's most valuable property. But how long can that continue if it's going to be mismanaged to the extent that it has been? If a deal such as the one that was put together between Disney and Bad Wolf in the first place can flounder so publicly and be curtailed, it's a lot of humble pie to eat, isn't it, for everybody involved? And can Doctor Who come out of it? Can Doctor Who come out of it with the dignity that it deserves? Because we don't want to see people fighting over this brand, do we? We don't want to see Doctor Who become about everything but the adventure, the thrills and the spills, and that sense of being relevant to the pop culture landscape. That's what we want. To wait and see, won't we, where that goes? But let me know what you think in the live chat, and how do you feel about the fact that Disney are indeed out. Disney Plus, Bad Wolf. I don't know. How easy are they going to find it to find an alternative streaming platform? Because as we understand it, that's very much what they're looking for. To wait and see, won't we? Okay, what else did I want to talk about? Let's remind myself. Yeah, so videos are up on the channel. Everything that was blocked or was processing is now back up and unblocked. I'm unblocked and looking forward to the weekend. How about you? Let's have a look at some more comments before we shoot off back up the vortex. New Who hater insists I'm a happy and positive dude. I just hate New Who. All of New Who. So that's a lot of good stuff in New Who. Surely. Bad Wolf, Doctor Who is an X-show, says Stephen Braddock. Who World 79 says, what do you think about Matt Smith when he was a Doctor? I mentioned Matt Smith earlier on, so you have to scroll back to find out sort of generally where my take on Matt Smith is. Big fan of Matt Smith, though. Big fan. Cliff says, look up the amount of square footage filming space total compared to what they say is available. If it's the same, ongoing productions have dedicated set space and some may have been struck. As I understand it, the Doctor Who set, the TARDIS set is still standing. They're still doing tours of it, as I understand. So I can't see them taking that down anytime soon. And there'll likely be pickups as well for season 2, as I understand it. I couldn't swear to it, but they've still, for the time being, they've still got the keys, haven't they? They've still got the keys to the TARDIS. Yeah, there's still a little while left to run on the deal as well. Okay. What is your take on me, says Who World 79? I don't know you. Stephen Braddock says, Matt Smith was an excellent Doctor, right from his first scene. Co-signed. What is your take on me? Yeah, that's my favourite AHA record. That's my take on that. Okay, yes. What else is coming up? Yes, so this weekend, am I going to be watching any Doctor Who? Maybe. Maybe. We'll have to wait and see, won't we? I know. I think get my fan credentials, get them sorted out. I don't watch Doctor Who every week, but I do like to get a couple of episodes in. Get a couple in a week. This weekend, though, I am catching up with friends on Saturday for one event in particular, because I have been waiting on something else, and you may want to get on this as well. Head over to our sister channel and subscribe to the Spacebook for the Spacebook Live. That is our pop culture live stream concentrating on movies, TV, and comic books in sci-fi, fantasy, and horror, and pretty much any kind of subgenre that you can geek out about. This weekend, myself, Bowles Trek, the Rabbi, Gary, and whoever else is daft enough to volunteer. We're going to be reviewing the brand new Star Trek TV movie Section 31, starring Michelle Yeoh. So if you haven't gone on board with a Spacebook Live, join the mission and subscribe to the Spacebook. That's on YouTube as well. Not the most naturalistic of actresses, is she? Michelle Yeoh. Oh, who are we to talk? More comments there in the live chat. Thank you, everybody, for joining me for this impromptu live stream. True, says Lorthoff. Which bit was that? It was all true. Of course it's true. It's all true. I mean, True by Spandau Ballet. That's another 80s track, isn't it? Yeah, I love that as well. Big 80s kid. Reuptaken asks, which of Colin Baker's best-known roles was the most successful? You're talking about between the Doctor and Paul Merony in The Brothers, I would imagine. I was too young. I'm too young to remember The Brothers. I never watched The Brothers. So, but I know it cast a long shadow when Colin was announced as the Doctor. Great many people said, "Oh, it's the guy from The Brothers." So I know it was a big deal. I've still never seen The Brothers. I think Doctor Who did eclipse it. I think it eclipsed it. What do you think? Any Brothers fans out there in the live chat? And other Colin Baker roles. What other roles would I associate with Colin? I mean, his Blake 7 appearance. That was pretty unforgettable, wasn't it? For one reason or another. He was great in Blake 7, but my God, yeah, he went big, didn't he? Go big or go home. He went big. That's a second question from people in the live chat. Are you the same person? I'm not going to answer that question. Who World 79? Come on. Woodhouse 122 says The Brothers is on Talking Pictures TV at the moment with Colin Baker and Kate O'Mara. See, I love Kate O'Mara. Love her. Robert Payne says, my parents said Colin Baker was the bloke from The Brothers. I didn't know who it was either. No, I didn't. No. Michael Q is just posted a load of throw-up faces. What have I done? What have I said? Oh, yeah, Paul Merony or the Sixth Doctor. I think if you're talking to the general British public, it's the Sixth Doctor. I think the Doctor did eclipse Paul Merony. Paul Merony, he was far more successful in The Brothers, though, wasn't he? I don't think he became a household name, but he was one of those people that folks love to hate. It's kind of the JR of British TV, wasn't he? It was such a long time ago now, and Doctor Who is Doctor Who. Doctor Who is in a different league, isn't it? What do you think, Peter? Which was the biggest? No, he's not saying. He's not saying. Okay, I think that about wraps it up this time. Yes, I have seen Colin Baker in Star Trek Continues. Of course I have. Star Trek fan, Doctor Who fan, Colin Baker fan. Of course I have. Of course I have. Okay, I think that is about it. I've kept you for long enough. So what's next? Catch up on our content at your leisure. There was The Wrong Thinkers from earlier in the week there. The Screen Time War. We got together, myself and David, to talk about Russell T Davies and his social media outburst earlier this week in light of the presidential inauguration, which I can never say. And there was Type 40 Live episode 200 as well. The gargantuan live stream, 3.5 hours worth of it to sort of break up into segments and watch at your leisure. So go at all of that. And we'll see you for the Spacebook Live on the Spacebook channel on Star Trek, that new TV movie, Saturday from 8 p.m. No lazing around here, Tom. Come on. Yeah, thanks everybody, and thank you for the comments. Much appreciated. The new names, great to have you here. Come back by all means. And that's it. Enjoy your weekends. We always have the time if you have the space here at Type 40. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you in the comments. Bye bye.